The New York Knicks have had enough of coming short of winning a championship, and now they've said, you know what, Giannis Antetokounmpo will push the needle. They are willing to offer a tsunami type offer to acquire Giannis from the Bucks. Now, for this to happen, there's going to be some pieces that I do agree need to be moved, and that has to be Karl Anthony Towns. Obviously, Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are two defensive liabilities, but offensively, they are the focal point of the Knicks last season. The Knicks looked best against the Pacers when one of them were not on the court. So, one of them has to go. Jalen Brunson is on a lot better friendly team deal than Karl Anthony Towns. So, you're going to have to keep Brunson. And then Giannis, on the other hand, is a defensive beast. So, it would actually help to leave, ending up acquiring Giannis for Karl Anthony Towns. So, not only that, they want to bring in Jason Kidd, who is a head coach that has a good relationship with both Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jalen Brunson. So if you were to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Kidd would be a good hire, and it also helps Giannis to be able to stay with the New York Knicks, being content there as well, because we all know, I think the Bucks are going to have some sort of gentleman agreement with Giannis Antetokounmpo, considering he won them a championship. So I feel like he'll have some sort of say on where he'll go. But the New York Knicks could be a spot, considering Giannis wants to stay in the East, and he also has mentioned how happy he was Luka Doncic was going to a big market team, and he loves that European players are going to be the face of franchises at big at franchises in big cities like Luka with the Lakers. He enjoys that. So he would not say no to the Knicks. And then this would be, a mock offer. And I think this is nowhere near enough to be able to acquire Giannis, considering there's teams like the Spurs that could offer a lot more young talent, like Vassell, Castle, who's the Rookie of the Year, and more as well, that could be sent to the Spurs as well, to the Bucks, as well as that number 2 overall pick. Now, the Knicks don't really have a top draft pick like the Spurs, which I think is the biggest threat on getting Giannis. But if Karl Anthony Towns, I believe, is a decent enough piece to be going to the Bucks, Tyler Kolek, those picks, those are fine. But I believe you're going to have to end up sending either one of Josh Hart or McBride, as well as one of OJ Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. So the Knicks would end up lining up with Jalen Brunson, either McBride or Josh Hart at the 2, either OG or Mikal at the 3, Giannis at the 4, Mitchell Robinson playing center. That would be a well defensive lineup with Jalen Brunson running the show at point and Giannis Antetokounmpo being a very big vocal point offensively and defensively. Meanwhile, the Bucks, on the other hand, acquiring Karl Anthony Towns as being their piece to move for the future. That's going to be their guy. That would be a good place for Karl Anthony Towns as well, because he's definitely going to be the number 1 option there as well. You get a 3-and-D guy in either Mikal or OJ Anunoby, and then you get a defensive good guard in either Josh Hart or McBride. So honestly, that would be a win-win for both. Obviously, if I were the Milwaukee Bucks and I was forced to go with the Knicks for a trade partner, then obviously that would be the trade I would be looking to get. But the Spurs is probably the team that could give you the most assets. That number 2 overall pick looks very good, in my opinion. You're literally going to get any player in the draft except for Cooper Flag, depending on what you like. You're going to get the reigning Rookie of the Year in Stephon Castle. You're going to get an exciting young guard in Vassell. And you could possibly get even more young players off the Spurs. Really the only thing that is untouchable with the Spurs is, you could say, is De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama. So genuinely, that Spurs deal has a lot of potential. But, obviously, and also Keldon Johnson can be included. But the New York Knicks makes sense depending on, the direction that the Bucks want to go. If the Bucks want to rebuild, considering they don't have their draft picks, I don't believe they're going to go that way. But if they want to rebuild, you go with the Spurs. But if you don't want to rebuild and you want to stay somewhat competitive, then you do the Knicks deal, because that's going to keep you in the playoffs. That's definitely going to keep you in a 6 through 10 seed, 100%. Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal or OG, and Josh Hart or McBride is enough to keep you competitive, and then you can go out and acquire whatever you need in the in the other positions as well. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. If you were the Bucks, what kind of trade would you be looking to do? Like the Knicks trade where they would keep you competitive still, or like the Spurs trade where it's a complete utter rebuild. But anyways, thank you guys for watching.